you are looking at plant selection, if you look around in these greenhouses, there's an enormous amount of plant selection. So you can dream whatever it is you want, and the plant will fill it. The key is making the right selection for your garden, depending what type of garden you have. Comes down to a couple of important issues: personal choice and the right choice. Banana palms and coconut trees will die. Do not plant a banana. So when you're dealing with your personal choice, what colours do I like? What type of flowers do I like? Plan your garden accordingly. When you make a garden plan, you need on the plan the name of the plant and where you're going to place it. You have a choice of annuals, biannuals, and perennials, trees, shrubs, bulbs, and grasses. Don't forget grasses, they make a super foundation for a garden. Annuals go from seed to flower in one season, so keep that in mind when you're planning your garden. At the end of the season, they're done. They're not going to come back next year, guaranteed. Examples are geraniums, petunias, snapdragons, etc. The biannuals are a different thing altogether. Biannuals go from seed to plant in one season, and then they flower and usually die in the second season. There are instances where it won't die, it will just keep coming back. I have a foxglove in the garden that's been coming back for 5 years now. So what happens is the actual plant dies, but by that time it's dropped its seed, so it self-seeds in the garden, which is great. Sweet Williams and can't remember the name of it. Hollyhocks are also examples of biannuals. Perennials are of course plants that are always in your garden. Daylilies, most roses, delphiniums, glowflower, etc. They are all perennials, and there is a huge assortment of perennials available to grow in this region. You also have bulbs. So you have two types of bulbs. Bulbs that flower in the spring. Those are the bulbs you plant in the fall. They have to overwinter in the garden. A spring bulb will not be successful if it hasn't been frozen in the ground, which is really peculiar. And summer flowering bulbs like gladiola, dahlia, canna lily, calla lilies also are summer bulbs. With most summer bulbs you have to lift them at the end of the season because they're not frost tolerant. Then you have shrubs and trees. You have all kinds of shrubs and trees. This is an example of a very prolific garden shrub for this part of the world. It's a spirea. It's frost tolerant, cold tolerant. You can't kill it once it's in your garden. It will eventually die of old age because it will get so big and woody that it will just die. But excellent foundation plant for a garden. Shady areas, you need these. You need these for shady areas.
Asters.
Poster lilies. The best source of information for shrubs is contained on the label. It will tell you all you need to know about where to plant the shrub, what zone it needs to be in. Usually speaking, anything you can purchase in this area is specifically grown for this area. Not always the case, but for the most part. So that pretty much covers the plants. So it's a matter of making your choices and getting the spade out and get digging.
What were you saying about the grasses, David? The ornamental
They're good.
grasses?
Yeah, they're good foundation plants. No, these are a perennial, but there are some that are annual. Yeah.
Fescues.
I picked that one specifically because it is a perennial grass.
What about
And it will have a plume on it at some point, seed head.
what about invasive grasses? Which ones would you recommend to not purchase?
Well, this type of grass is not really invasive because it's a clump. It will stay. It will probably get bigger in the ground, but it won't spread all over. Not many grasses, only the grasses that you actually sow to make a lawn.
What about pampa grasses? I think pampa?
Oh, pampas grass?
Yeah.
No, it's a clump.
Yeah.
It will stay. I mean, the clump will get bigger and bigger, but
Yeah.
it won't spread through the garden.
What is the tendency for people to do bamboo, like the Zen kind of gardens?
It's tricky growing bamboo in this climate.
Yeah.
Unless you can somewhere find a really hardy variety.
Like a microculture, like a microclimate?
Yeah, you could do that. You could do that if you can create that. You know, again, you're taking a huge risk in the winter though.
Yeah.
Because it's, you know, bamboo is a grass, in fact. But it's really tricky in this climate.
David, what are your thoughts on planting like I'll say like the emerald cedars in pots and having them overwinter, or like you'll see often Alberta spruce and, you know, spiral, anything in pots?
Emerald cedars are usually pretty good for this region. I found looking around that the Alberta spruce don't do well here at all.
Yeah.
Miniature varieties, they get windburn. That's the problem. And I've even seen people who wrap, my next door neighbour wraps hers every year, and she's able to keep it alive for about 3 out of 4 years. In the 4th year, something will happen. It will be extra cold or extra wet, and it will kill it. Which is a shame because it's a beautiful ornamental tree.
Are there any plants that fight each other in the garden?
Usually, if you plant them too close together, each plant needs its space. If you plant them too close together, they're just going to get into it.
No, if you have a mosquito, you want to get rid of mosquitoes. What plant?
I don't know of a plant that actually gets rid of them. There are several plants. There are several plants available, like lemon balm is a good plant. If you have them close around the house, they will tend to keep the bugs away. But in terms of eliminating them, nah, there's not a way. Raid is the only plant that will kill a mosquito. Actually, that brings up a subject: garden pests and diseases. You could run a 3-hour seminar on just ladybugs. But garden pests and diseases, your best sources of information are online. If you have a particular bug or a particular problem with the leaf on the plant, if you Google it, it will tell you how to solve it.
No, I know a peony. There's a lot of ants on it.
Peonies.
Peonies and ants, they've been family members since the peony first came over from China.
They suck the sap out to open the bloom.
But what they also do, I've heard say, is that the ants crawling over the bud stimulate the bud cap to open, helping the flower to bloom. I don't know if that's true, but I've heard that said.
That's my understanding.
Yeah. Who knows? The mysteries of the garden. And like I said at the beginning, your garden is more of a personal choice issue than it is anything else. What do you want your garden to be?
What about watering?
Watering when it gets dry. You can overwater if the weather is unseasonal and you're getting lots of rain. You don't need to water the garden at all, because there is enough moisture there. But if you get a spell of 4 or 5 dry days, you need to look around your garden to see what's suffering. And you can usually tell if a plant needs water. It will do this. It will turn brown on the edges. The other reason for that is, of course, it's still in the pot. So, in a nutshell, that's how you have it.
Thank you, David.
Welcome.
David Baker, our horticulturalist. Clarence Rockland Garden Club.
Done.
June 27th. See you soon.